4, 3, 2, 1.
Whether you've been married 1 or 20 plus years, at some point you realize you married into crazy. And that's what our show is all about. If your marriage or relationship is compassionate, real, accountable, zealous and yielding, or just plain crazy, Snooks and Levy offer love, laughter, and a dose of reality as they unpack this thing called marriage. Sit back, relax, and get your ear hustle on. It's time to start the conversation.
Welcome back to another episode of the Married Into Crazy podcast with Snooks and Levy.
I'm Snooks.
And I'm Levy. And we want to thank each and every one of you for coming back. We've been doing this for quite a while, and we're thankful and grateful that you come back to participate in the conversation. We're a couple that's been married for going on 28 years.
Yep, almost 28 years.
Yep. And so we've been through some stuff. We've been through the ups. We've been through the downs.
And the lows.
And we've hit some plateaus as well, where it's just kind of status quo. But through it all, we stay committed. And we find ways and create ways and discover new ways to make our marriage that much better. And that's what we try to bring to you on a weekly basis. Mm-hmm. If it's not just through conversations, things that we've experienced with other couples and talking to them, sometimes we bring interviews with other couples. We bring subject matter experts from time to time, which we're a little behind the curve. We need to get some of the people that we have lined up to actually get them scheduled so we can get them and bring them to you. Mm-hmm. So that's what we do. Feel free to go into the library on YouTube or wherever you're downloading this podcast and listening to it to listen to a lot of the conversations that have taken place going all the way back to 2018. A lot of topics, a lot of conversations, some serious, some lighthearted.
Yeah, we have a lot of content and some, like Lovey said, some serious. I think there's always a little bit of lightheartedness in every single one of our podcasts.
To a certain extent, I think so.
Yeah.
But before we get into it, do us a favor. Think about what you love to do with your spouse and ask yourself, have you done it recently? Whatever. And I'm not just talking about sex.
Oh.
No, I mean, but like in the way of going on a vacation, going on a trip, going on a retreat, going to a marriage conference. I bring that up because the Married Into Crazy Winter Ball and Marriage Conference is coming up
February 7th and 8th, 2025 in Sacramento, California. So get online and get those tickets.
Check it out. Yeah, there's an early bird special going on right now. So if you go to shop.marriedintocrazy.com, you'll be able to go there and click on the Winter Ball tab, and you'll be able to see all the speakers that are lined up. It's going to be a lot of fun. The Friday night, the 7th, we are going to have a formal banquet and a dance with a live band. And we're extremely excited. I was going back and forth today with the band leader for the Sugar High Band that's very well known in the Sacramento area. So they're performing. So they're excited. They're putting together something really special for all of you, for all of us, I should say, because we're going to be out there dancing too.
We're not going to dance.
Oh, we're going to be dancing.
Get a dance on.
At the very minimum, you will be dancing.
I will dance by myself all night if I have to. So.
And then the next day, that's basically going to set the mood for the next day, which is going to include 5 dynamic speakers, including ourselves, that are going to be talking on a variety of things that affect marriage. This isn't all about, the Bible said. No, there might be an element of that to a certain extent. But really, it's about things like Eva Palacios talking about finances and how they affect and what you can do to positively take control and kind of build a hedge, if you will, a moat, if you will, around your marriage to ensure that it's not attacked. Because one of the major reasons why people get divorced is because of finances. And Eva's got some great resources and tools to really assist with that.
Yeah, the Mohammeds are going to be talking about life operating procedures within your marriage. And we call them the mantra masters. So Courtney and Terrell will be speaking with us about how to put those operating procedures in place and also how to build a mantra for your marriage.
Absolutely. And then there's some other speakers as well. We have Cloyce and Sheila Dickerson. They're going to be coming in and talking about, how we get excited about the I do's. You get excited about the wedding. You get excited about the reception, the honeymoon and all that, right? The things that are pretty exciting. But then we never really talk about
The I don'ts.
the I don'ts. We talk about those things that work out for us, but what happens when, for the better, they say for better or for worse. What happens when it gets to the for worse side? How do you manage that? What are the things that motivate you and inspire you to make it through? And so they're going to be hitting on that. And then, of course, we have the dynamic duo, the Swanigans. We have OJ, Pastor OJ,
And First Lady Delisa.
They're going to be hammering on how to have positive conflict. We're humans. So there's going to be a lot of conflict no matter what. You have conflict with people you work with. You have conflict with your siblings. You have conflict with your parents. So why wouldn't we think we're going to have conflict with our spouses?
Well, I mean, I don't think it. I know it. No, wait.
No, it's the truth, but there's a way to get through it.
Yeah.
Right. And so they're going to really walk us through that as well and give some positive nuggets, if you will, for us to actually take back into our homes and truly apply. And, of course, we're going to be speaking as well. But then I don't want to miss out on our Masters of Ceremony. This is an incredible couple. And you're looking at Derek and Lillian Winrow are very well known for the community efforts that they do throughout Sacramento. They're involved in so many different things, and they've agreed to be our Masters of Ceremony. So,
and they are funny. So you all are going to enjoy them. Just being up there, their energy is great and everything. So it's going to be fun. It's going to be a good time. We're going to dance. We're going to eat. We're going to learn some things. We're going to go out empowered, and we're going to also apply those principles that we learn to our marriages.
That's right. So the clock's ticking. Today is the 10th of December. And we're shutting down registration on January 15th. So you've got about 39 days to get your tickets. And again, the first 50, those tickets are going fast as well. The first 50 are able to get early bird pricing. So get your tickets.
I'm glad you reminded me, because someone asked me today about the registration. I was like, go ahead, get them,
Yeah, there's 39 days left.
Okay.
So I know it's the holiday season.
know.
Give yourself something for Christmas that is going to last a lifetime. Mm-hmm. Give yourself these tickets. So anyway, what I want to get into today is the minutia. I don't want to call it the minutia. The everyday things that we go through within our marriage that sometimes don't get a lot of, airtime. And that's the tough times, the meh. You ever see that? You ever see that the emoji where it's like meh? Mm. Today, Snooks was having a difficult time, and I asked if we could have a conversation about it.
Yeah, I mean, you say the meh, the minutia, but earlier when we were talking, when we were introduction time or what have you, you talked about through all of our things we stay committed, know, and sometimes in marriage it's hard to keep your commitments, stay committed to your commitments, like just being total transparent, we committed to the podcast, to MIC. And there are times when I don't want to do MIC because of the things that are going on around us, life, school, work, Isaiah, the girls, whatever. If we're, if we beefing, I'm like,
It happens.
I don't feel like, but we still have to keep our commitments. Keep our commitment to our commitments, and that's hard to do at times. So it's like you have to find that superpower of my cape says committed, So
it's not a big S in the chest; it's a C in the chest.
Seriously, yeah.
No, and it's true because there's so many different things that we go through, and it's not just being committed to the marriage, is about being committed to the person that's standing across from you as well. Because you can love and be in love with the concept of marriage, but then you have to go through the things, right? You got to go through the go through. And today, Snooks was having an extremely difficult time. I came home from an appointment and she was crying. And I'm like, what's going on? And she was just like,
Meh. We try not to always talk about it, but it's like it's always present. When you, like us losing our son, there are times where I'm just like, I'm going on about my business, and then all of a sudden it's like someone dropped a rock on me. Like, oh, wait a minute. He's not ever coming back, that just makes me, and sometimes when I feel that, I'm just overwhelmed. Like, oh, what are you talking about? How is that even a thing, um getting ready for Christmas and putting up the decorations and everything. And Christmas has always been my favorite time of year, but it's really exciting too because we got a little one back in the house, and he's so overwhelmed and overjoyed with the decorations. Nix is back. That's the little stuffed animal. I'm not animal. I'm sorry. That's a little Santa, and we named him Nix. So whenever there's a change, be like, look, Nix did that. Or he sees some decorations. He tells me, Snooks, come see. Nix put the tree up. Nix put the lights up. Nix did this. Nix did that. So, I love it. But then I had moments throughout the day today where I was just so sad, because it's just like, wow, I know that the world doesn't stop. I know that, but at times I wanted to. I just wanted to stop and just be like, wait, we need to stop and, go back in time or do whatever and make some changes or something, so that my reality is not what it is right now. Is in regards to with our son,
And it's challenging because we deal with it differently. There's times where I'm just floored. Like there have been times where I've been curled up in bed and I just can't get out. And Snooks takes care of me. She makes sure that, everything in the house continues to move as it should. And there's other times where I feel it coming on. And so I provide distractions for myself. I dive into work. I dive into things from Married into Crazy, the marriage conference coming up, developing some other social media things for us, doing whatever, volunteering. I used to find different ways, and because the world doesn't stop. And I think that it irritates her at times, because it's like, well, why aren't you should sit here and be crying right next to me.
Or
I feel like that, like you're perturbed.
No, I'm not perturbed about that. Not from you, because I process different. I just want to be left alone. I want the lights off. I want to be in a corner. I want to have like my music on, and I just want to reflect by myself. I don't ugly cry, not really. But the tears just come, and I'm so comfortable with that. That's just like a release for me at times.
Meanwhile, I'm on the other side of the room and I'm like, you're depressed. I need to get you help. You need to call somebody. You need to do something. And because we deal with it differently. And the reason why, we're talking about this, and I thought it would be a great topic, is because this can become a point of contention within a relationship. That I'm trying to manage her grief. I want her to adopt my methodologies in dealing with those feelings and dealing with the grief, the sadness, the dismay. And she just wants to be left alone. And if you're not in the right headset, if you're not aligned, if you don't have conversations continuously, that can create a problem to where it's like, now you're arguing about the sadness, the grief, or that process. And it's like, it's absolutely unnecessary.
And even in, if not arguing about it, just being understanding when you see it. So like, I think Levy, he's like, okay. He asked, what's wrong? And I'm like, nothing. And he didn't press. He didn't, he knew obviously something was wrong. But when, I don't know, being married to each other for as long as we recognize, you could pick up on, okay, it's kind of probably this or whatever, for us anyway. Maybe it's the way that I withdraw. So figured out it was about Kaylin, and then I got snippy. So,
Yes, you did.
but instead of him, clapping back or getting snippy back with me or whatever, he just let it roll off of him.
Not really.
Just kind of kept it moving. Yeah, I kind of felt like you did.
Well, and therein lies the lesson. I did take it personal.
Well,
at first,
but you didn't like attack. You
No.
didn't go back and like retaliation.
Because
well, you
I've
need
learned
to
my
blah
lesson.
blah blah. But I just felt like because you recognize that.
I do and I don't. I mean, I'm still human. So in the moment, I'm like, I was like, you know what? I'm not gonna lie. Part of me said you need to get over this in your head, not get over losing Kaylin.
I was like, bruh, what?
No, not that. We never will. But I'm talking about like in this moment, it's like, yeah, but stuff needs to get done. So we need to, because she had a migraine. She had been crying. And when I asked, did you take something for it? No. My immediate thought is, well, how do you expect it to get better if you're not going to take anything for the medication?
So the thing with that is too, those of you who suffer from migraines regularly,
Which I do.
You understand that they come like that.
I
So
get it.
he comes in, the lights are off. He comes in the office, turning the lights on. And I know he has to work because he's been, doing a lot of stuff. So I just put my hand over my eyes and just kind of put my head back. And he's like, well, what's wrong? Blah, 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 whatever. Did you take the, and I was like, no. And so he went on this mad hunt for the pills. And in my head, I was like, if you would just leave me alone, I would probably be okay.
I knew she felt that. I knew she felt that way. But I'm like, okay, you need to take something because it's not going to get better unless there's some action taken, even if it's just the smallest step of taking a pill that's going to assist you and at least getting to the other side.
But I was going to. I wasn't going to sit there in pain all whatever. I just needed that moment at that time to just be still. It's like, okay. When it was too much for me, then I obviously I'm going to move on it, but again, recognizing that sometimes we just need to recognize that, okay, his body language is saying, leave me the heck alone. I don't want to be, and we need to respect those boundaries because in marriages, a lot of times we don't respect the boundaries of our spouses or of our significant others. We feel like, no, I know you put that boundary up, but you know what? I'm about to cross it anyway because for whatever reason. And I feel like not to be disrespectful, but because I want you to be better. So I'm going to do whatever possible to make sure that that happens. Even though the person is like, please, Lord, please make them leave me alone or whatever, So
And that's a good point because the challenge is, okay, when you're at work, you respect boundaries. When you're driving on the road, you respect boundaries. We respect boundaries everywhere we go. If you play in a recreational athletic league, you respect the boundaries. But when you come home, you feel like, okay, well, boundaries be damned. I want to do what I want to do and I'm going to do it. And, and you're going to do it. And I'm going to actually get you to do it my way, or I'm going to push you, or I'm going to do it because it's going to make you better. I'm guilty of that. I'm very guilty of that. But I think over time, you start to recognize that the effort in trying to assist or help does more damage than allowing the person to just exist and just being there for support. Support doesn't mean I'm going to drag you across the finish line. Sometimes support just means rather than cross the finish line, I'm just going to stand here with you.
Mm-hmm. I mean, it again goes back to the boundaries and respecting how I need you to show up. If it's my trauma or whatever it is, but I need you to show up like this. You can't tell me, oh, no, you don't need that. Show up the way I need you to show up. And I think that there are times where we have to learn how to pivot and be like, okay, this is what I really want to do. But that's not what they need right now, or that's not what they want right now. So let me go the way that they want it to be, because without doing that, you could be adding more pressure, more anxiety to the situation in your helping. So we have to be, I feel like, we need to be aware of that too.
No, it's very true. And so keep in mind that when you're going through these holidays where everyone's being so festive, at least attempting to be, there's respect the other individual if, for whatever reason, they're not in that festive mood. If they're not feeling the season and not like, oh, don't be a bah humbug, don't be an Ebenezer Scrooge, don't be a... People go through stuff. And it could be, the shift can be as quick as the wind shifts, right? The wind switches directions, and that could be the difference. We were together this morning, and and everything was fine. And then the wind blew in a different direction, and she was no longer fine. And it's not just on her, because it happens with me as well. There are times where I'm just perfectly fine throughout the day, and then I'll hear a song, or Isaiah will say something, or whatever, and then I just have this overwhelming feeling of something. I can't even put a name to it, where it's just like I'm just missing Kaylin, and I don't want to be around. And I get angry. Rather than get kind of like sad and crying all the time, mine shows up as anger. And that's why I'm also in therapy, trying to figure out how to actually work through that. And we have to be there for each other and recognize. And again, I think that the topic of boundaries is a very valid one. And it's year long. It's not just for the holidays, but I think it shows up quite a bit in the holidays because there's an expectation of joy.
That's true. I mean, and then, last Tuesday would have been his birthday. It would have been a big one, the 3-0. So, I'm just thinking about that. Like, wow, he would have been 30. And I'm remembering when we turned 30, it's just those things where if you lost someone, and you just remember, I don't want to say you remember, but just thinking about the things that won't happen again. You'll never do this again. You'll never do that again. And even, sometimes people are like, oh, well, you have these memories and so on and so forth. And that's true. That is very true. But sometimes your memories are, they could be a curse too, especially if you feel like there were some things that you wish you would have done differently, or you just like, oh gosh, I just wish that I didn't do this, or, maybe I could have did that differently, or I could have said it in a better way. When you lose someone, you never get to go back and correct whatever those things were that you felt like you did wrong, or, so the memories are not always great when there are mistakes that have been made, so.
Very true. So we're just, we almost didn't do a podcast today. But I felt like, we always want to be authentic and give you not just, the happy, joy. And these are, the things you do to get better. And this is what was great on our vacation or whatever. It's also, the moments we hit those plateaus or those difficulties, and the ongoing conversations that take place in homes. For those of you that are struggling, that have challenges with loss, with grief over the holidays, it's a bit of a plug for the book Out of Order that we're co-authors for, but it's not just us. There's a number of other parents that have lost their children, and the sequence was dramatically changed, and we lost someone out of order. Go to Amazon.com, and the book is available there. And I think it'll help some individuals in finding some nuggets by reading the different stories, the different parents. Even our stories are very different, the way that we dealt with grief. That might be an avenue with which you might be able to find a resource to help you through these holiday seasons or whatever the situation may be. So that's something to consider as well. But just know that you're not alone, and that when the time comes and you feel like, I'm just not feeling it, it's okay. But be open to having a conversation with your spouse about, what do you need? Rather than making the assumption that, I can drag you across the joy, finish line. How about just asking, what is it? How can I best serve you? And being respectful, respect those boundaries.
I was gonna say, but don't ask the question if you're not willing to do the things that are asked of you. You know, if I tell you what it is, don't tell me no, that's not it.
Very true. But I will say this. The Winter Ball and Marriage Conference in February is not going to be like this.
I know.
It's going to be a party.
Hi, bird.
It's going to be a great time. But it's also going to be around other couples, from 50 to 100 other couples that go through it just like each and every one of us do. Mm-hmm. And the magic isn't just being there and listening and getting inspired and motivated and having a great time around marriage. It's also meeting other couples that are going through it. The magic is in the room. The magic is being there. And there's a lot of times where you're going to wish that, oh man, I wish I would have gone. Mm-hmm. You want to be there for this one. It's going to be a great opportunity. Again, go to shop.marriedintocrazy.com, click on the Winter Ball tab, and make sure that you're in the room. Mm-hmm. So until the next time,
be blessed.
Bye.
Bye-bye.
Cool.
Thank you for listening to the Married Into Crazy podcast with Snooks and Levy. Please like, subscribe to, and review the show wherever you access it, and tell a friend about us. Visit marriedintocrazy.com and see how Snooks and Levy can bless your marriage directly.